Redditors, who've won a lifetime supply contest. How did you win? And how's it going? Story number 1. In college, I frequented a specific Jack-in-the-Box that was within walking distance from campus. I'd occasionally talk with the manager, who was a pretty cool guy, and one of only a few people I knew who were into the World Cup. One day he says, "You want a lifetime supply of milkshakes?" I thought he was joking, so I was like, "Sure." And he handed me a huge stack of free milkshake coupons. Not so much a contest, but I guess I won the prize for friendliness. Story 2. When I was a kid, there was a fun competition to rename a popular children's cereal. It cost money to vote as it was a premium number, but my mother let my younger brother vote for fun. What we didn't know at the time was by voting you'd be entered to win a lifetime supply of this cereal, and my brother won. So they called up our mother and told them we didn't want it. My mother ruined our childhood by telling Kellogg's we didn't want their lifetime supply of cereal. I could be eating that right now. 16 years later, I could still be enjoying that cereal. Story 3. I won a lifetime supply of coffee beans for having guessed how many beans were in the tall glass jar during a competition. They arrive faster than I can use them, but the beans are high quality and make fun gifts for friends who like to grind and brew. Story 4. About 4 years ago, I won a cinema premiere card, which entitled me to 2 free movies a week for the duration of a year. The cinema chain dragged its feet when it came to delivering the prize, but I persisted and eventually received the card a few months later. Turns out the card had lasted for longer than a year. It is still currently in use and is set to expire in 2116. Story 5. A colleague of mine won a year's supply of beer from a craft brewery in an office raffle. They sent her 1 bottle of beer a month, 12 beers total. Story 6. When I was a kid, the Australian brand Amit's was running a competition where if you bought their Shape biscuits, you could win all sorts of prizes. After begging my mom for Shapes every time she went to the supermarket, I finally won a prize, which was a lifetime supply of Shapes. Little me was over the moon. But when my mom took my winning card to be redeemed, the supermarket said they would have to contact the Amit's company. Well, after waiting months, we finally hear back from Amit's via a letter saying that they apologize but they cannot honor the competition, but instead have sent a $3 check reimbursing my mom for the packet of Shapes. So yeah, fuck you, Amit's. Story 7. My aunt won a lifetime supply of a rice-a-roni from The Price is Right. She used to get them faster than she can use them, but now, understandably, she's sick of it. So she just stockpiles them in her rice-a-roni closet and donates hundreds of boxes of them at a time. Yeah, she has a full closet of rice-a-roni. The neighborhood kids love her. Story 8. My friend won free chicken from Raising Cane's for Life, chicken finger chain. In order to claim his chicken, he had to present the card given to him. After a few months of free chicken, his wallet was stolen, putting an end to his free chicken. Somebody was very happy when they saw that card in his wallet. Story 9. I won a year's worth of burgers from Jack-in-the-Box in college. They gave us 156 cards that would literally work for any burger or sandwich on their menu. I gained about 15 pounds and then I started to use them as trading tools to get my stoner friends to do stuff. It started with, "You run down to 7-Eleven and get me a Gatorade, I'll give you 1 burger card." Then turned more into things like, "You drink that bong water, I'll give you 3 burger cards." It was glorious. The cards definitely didn't last me a year. Story 10. I went to school with a kid whose mom won a lifetime supply of aluminum foil. They wrap everything in foil. His whole lunch every day was wrapped in foil, sandwich, fruit, etc. And then they make one of those baking pouches. That's his lunch bag. When we had like dessert potluck, his cookies came wrapped in foil. I asked him about it once and he said they even wrap all the Christmas presents in it. And they still get too many boxes of it. They give it away to friends and family. Story 11. I won a lifetime subscription to Playboy magazine in 1969. I was a senior in college. It was the raffle grand prize at a big party weekend. The subscription has followed me around the world ever since. Doesn't anyone say those old issues are worth something? Except for the very first year issues, they're worthless. And who saves old magazines? Also, the articles haven't been much to get excited about for quite a while now. I'm currently bracing for a final issue arrival or notification of the same. It has been a lovely run. Story 12. Back in the 60s, my grandmother, who was rich then, had purchased a health insurance policy with no deductible or copay for $116 a month. The premium was lifetime and would never go up. And it was absolutely carte blanche. Pay for nothing, ever. Over the years, that insurance company would be bought and sold, and there was always some scam they would try to get her to upgrade or change policies. Some would even try to bully her. She had a lawyer, whom she outlived. That said, no matter what, don't do anything. Any company that buys them out has to honor your policy. It is lifetime. Just don't miss a payment. She lived until age 90 and had excellent health insurance until the day she died of old age. Update. She said her friend said she was crazy all those years ago and she bought it. Her husband had just died and left her a couple of warehouses in the Minneapolis area. She said she didn't want to worry about health insurance, so she bought it. She told me the story about 10 years before she died when she asked me for help with fixing the transmission of her 1983 Cadillac. She was about broke then, but kept up appearances as much as a healthy 80-year-old can. I do remember when I was young, she always had great parties at her lake home. She said she blew her money in the right way and in good fun. Just didn't expect to live so long. No kidding. Health insurance worked a bit too well, I guess. Story 13. I won a lifetime supply of camera film from the publisher's clearinghouse. I had to send it in to them to get developed, and they would send me back a new roll with my pictures. The prices for development were actually really good, so I did for a good decade or so until digital cameras took over. Edit. This was back in the late 80s and I was just a kid, but as best as I can remember, it was 35mm and have no idea if they would still honor it today. My grandpa was an avid photographer and he would help teach me basic tips and tricks like the rule of thirds and whatnot. It's been gone for years now, but those memories still make me smile. So you're the guy who decimated the film camera industry. Story 14. When we moved into our current house, every year around Christmas, we'd get this massive box full of assorted Keebler crackers, always addressed to the previous owner. This went on for about 10 years before they finally stopped coming. To this day, we have no idea what kind of deal the previous owner had with Keebler. But let me tell you, we always looked forward to that cracker box every year. Edit. I was a kid when all this happened. I had no idea this was technically illegal. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think my parents did either. They're pretty straight-laced folks. We didn't have any contact information for the previous owners. We just knew they moved to somewhere in Florida. Story 15. Our local Krispy Kreme burned down one day, and about a year later, it reopened. The first 100 people in the door were given free donuts for a year, and number 1 got them for life. A friend and I camped out overnight with over 100 people. The first guy in line was there for an entire week. We ended up getting our year of donuts, and it was a punch card that let us each come back once a month for a free dozen donuts. If it happened near me and I was number 101 in the line, I would burn the store down and try again. Story 16. Not a lifetime supply, but my brother won a year's supply of free pizza from our favorite takeout place. It was really good pizza. The catch? You got 52 pizzas for the year, any size, any toppings. You could have them all at once if you wanted, or until you ordered a total of 52. We didn't touch it until we had each other's birthday parties. Turns out ordering 26 pizzas for your birthday is pretty awesome. Story 17. My great-grandfather was a farmer and won a contest for plowing the straightest row in the county fair. This was about 1910 in Saskatchewan, Canada. He won a lifetime supply of seed. Each weekend, he would go pick up about 20-plus bags of seed, and with his horse and buggy, take them to the train station, where new families were exiting the train. In 1910, Saskatchewan was giving away land to new immigrants, and for years and years, he would give each family bags of seed to start their new farm. That's super badass, and super Canadian. Story 18. I'm not sure if this counts, but a family friend did the original art for Ben & Jerry's ice cream. At the time, they didn't have money to pay her, so they said if the business was successful, she could have free Ben & Jerry's for life. She can walk into any Ben & Jerry's, show them her card, and walk out with as much ice cream as she wants. We also invite her to parties, but we also always joke she should have just asked for stock options. Edit. I learned today that B&J brick-and-mortar stores are not a thing everywhere. Edit 2. A lot of people have been commenting that she should have got paid for her work. At the time she was in college, Ben, Jerry, and she are friends. They honestly didn't think they would be successful. She didn't have any real aspirations of being an artist, as far as I know. Don't feel too bad for her. She's a hedge fund manager or investment banker now. She does very well for herself. Edit 3. They also gave her an insulated Ben & Jerry's bag made for holding her ice cream. Also, I have never seen her eat any. I guess there's such a thing as too much of a good thing. Story 19. I had a co-worker who won a lifetime supply of pies from a local pie bakery on Pie Day. He got one free once a month as long as he shows the card he got. It's been 4 years, I think, and he brings them into work sometimes. It doesn't bother getting one every month though, since he's single and lives alone, plus the calories are insane. He even gets the super fancy call ahead for specialty order type of pies for free. They're delicious. Story 20. I won a quote-unquote lifetime supply of water from Deer Park, a water brand in the South. And by lifetime, I mean only through college. After the first year, they realized how difficult it would be to keep supplying water and decided to give me something that would equal its worth, which to them was a $500 gift card to Target. Long story short, I now own a Nintendo Switch. Edit. I forgot, but my sister also won a year's supply of pistachios after finding a roach in one of their no-shell bags. If you have wondered if it is possible to own too many pistachios, it is. Second edit. One may not be the best word choice. Makes it seem like the roach is equivalent to a golden ticket from Willy Wonka. Story 21. Not quite a lifetime supply, but I wanted to add to this. When I was like 12, I went to see a movie with some friends. They stopped me as they tore my ticket and said that I was the 1000th or whatever person to enter the theater that day and that I won a prize. I went with the manager and he had me fill out a form and said I won a card to go see free movies for a year at that specific theater. I got the card in the mail a few weeks later. I could use it for me and a friend and go see as many movies as I wanted. I think it said at most once a week, but they didn't really keep track. I remember going to see some movies 3 to 4 times since I had a few friends who wanted to go, so I just went with all of them one by one. Story 22. Not lifetime, but my family won a year's supply of M&Ms from one of those 1-pound bags. They sent us a box of 365 manufacturers' coupons, each redeemable for one snack-size bag, which expired after 1 year. Unfortunately, the stores we went to didn't really know how to deal with non-store coupons, so it was always a hassle to try to use them. And we still had to pay sales tax, so it was kinda awkward picking up 20 bags and still needing to have $0.60 on you. We ended up giving most of the coupons away. This was in the mid-90s, when only regular peanut M&Ms existed. There are only so many of those you can eat in a year. Story 23. Back in 2004, there was a local car wash, the kind that you do it all, vacuums in the power washing bay, etc., that was hosting a contest in conjunction with a local radio station. The winner got 1 free car wash a week for life. I won, but it took a long time to get my special card. It finally arrived, and I went that day and washed my car. The place closed the very next week. There was a much newer car wash that had gone in not too far from this one, that had attendants to do the work. They hoped that the promotion would help them and keep the car wash open. It didn't, and I won a single car wash. I also think it rained a day or two later. Story 24. Free internet for life, and a year's supply of Coca-Cola checking in. I got free internet through an Oak Ridge National Labs program for middle school students in 1994. I used it consistently for something like 10 years, but at that point dial-up was so far behind cable or DSL that I just kind of stopped using it. I honestly don't know if it would even work anymore, as I've had no reason to try it. The free Coke products were a little weirder. Basically, when I was attending university, I noticed that the Coca-Cola I bought near the school just sucked. Like, it didn't taste like Coca-Cola at all, more like an RC mixed with Pepsi. I commented on this to all my friends and they had no clue what I was talking about, but I could blind test Cokes from home versus university Cokes, and get it right every time. Eventually, I sent an email to Coca-Cola basically just asking why the Cokes in Cookeville sucked so much, and if they could fix it. They, quite surprisingly, took it really seriously, and asked for numbers off of the affected cans, tracked it down to the bottler, or canner, and had it fixed within 6 weeks. Sent me a stack of just hundreds of silver free 12-pack any Coke product coupons, and thanked me for my time. Worked out great. Still had over 100 of them left at the end of the year. Story 25. Like a lot of comments in the thread, I didn't win a lifetime supply, but I bought a new set of tires for my car and it came with this app that had various deals on it, most for paintballing and stuff like that. It also had one for Domino's Pizza, which was literally across the road from me. You could get 1 free pizza a day. Now obviously they didn't expect many people to order a pizza every day, but I figured out that through the Domino's app, I could order pizza for up to a week ahead. Basically, every night before I went to sleep, I would place an order for 7 p.m. on Friday. With the house I was living in being a share house, we routinely had people coming over for drinks or to watch sports, so all the pizza was consumed. Every now and then I'd see a homeless person in the area and order one for them. After about 3 months, the deal ended, but it was a glorious 3 months. Story 26. I found a gray M&M in a pack in the late 90s. At first, I thought I won $1 million, but I won the second prize of a year's supply of M&Ms. I had no idea what that meant, but I sent in the wrapper. They sent me back a box of 400 coupons, each for a pack of M&Ms. I love M&Ms, but after the first 30 or 40 packs, I started to get a little tired of them. I'd take some coupons with me every time I went grocery shopping, and if I saw kids not being brats, I'd go up to their parents and offer them some coupons to give their kids M&Ms. A few thought I was weird or something, but most parents and kids were happy to get them. I also gave out multiple regular-sized packs for Halloween that year. Near the end of the coupon expiration date, I just went out and bought the remaining 50 or so, and kept them around my apartment, which lasted me about another year or so. Story 27. When I was in college, a guy in my fraternity was featured in a Nike running commercial. He was paid a fixed amount and they would randomly send him shoes throughout the 2 years I knew him. After he graduated, shoes still showed up at the house every quarter until I graduated. Funny part of the story is that he was on the university cross-country team, D1, and when he signed the paperwork, it voided his scholarship. The coach calls him into his office and berates him for a half hour on how he fucked up his scholarship. His response was priceless. I have 4 more semesters and Nike paid me enough to cover in-state tuition for that time. Also, I hate running, but I'm good enough to have gotten a scholarship. Now I have school paid for and will never run again. Good luck to you all, though. Story 28. It wasn't a lifetime supply, but it was a year's supply of flavored milk. The company hosting the competition is based in Perth, Western Australia. The goal of the competition was to rename each flavor of milk to something uniquely Western Australian based on its color. In my case, I renamed the spearmint flavored milk, which is green, to Transperth, which is the public transport service in WA. I came in second place for my submission and won a year's supply of flavored milk. Unfortunately, they couldn't figure out the logistics of sending me the milk, so in the end, they just transferred the equivalent amount of money into my bank account. I think it was about $1,200 or so. The money's long gone and well spent, and the irony is that I don't think I spent any of that money on milk. Go figure. Story 9. I won a year's supply of Warhead candies. Not a lifetime, but I think it's worth posting. We were in Walmart when I was about 10 or 11 years old. They had a contest for a sour pucker-up face for Warheads, and the winner received a year's supply of the candy, including experimental candies that weren't sold in stores yet. I decided to join and was told to come back in 20 minutes when the contest started. I was the only one there. I won by default. Through 5th and 6th grade, I received boxes upon boxes of candy every month. It was as if they wanted to give me diabetes because I was getting about $200 worth of candy every month. I started giving it out to friends and family like crazy. Fast forward a couple of months into 6th grade, and I'm selling it. I made a good $20 a day in quarters and dimes, 10 cents each, 3 for 25 cents. Fast forward to high school, and I'm a candy kingpin. Was selling candy bars I bought from Sam's Club. Story 30. Little different, but when Lord of the Rings Online was in beta, I helped test for them. They offered a lifetime subscription for $200, and as I had just graduated high school, I had a ton of cash to spare, so I bought it. Edit. I got graduation gifts from friends, family, and anyone my mom could feasibly contact. When you have 80 to 100 people all giving you $10 to $20 each, it adds up quickly. A couple of years later, after the Mines of Moria and Siege of Mirkwood expansions, they went free to play. I think the switch to F2P was better financially for them, so I was all for it. They give me a good-sized chunk of Lord of the Rings Online points each month, which is a type of currency you earn in-game, and you can use to unlock pretty much anything in the game. You get 5 points for completing the easy deeds in the game, 10 for the more advanced ones, and I think some might grant 15. Probably 95% of the deeds grant only 5 points though. I get 500 points per month, for free, automatically. I think 500 points is roughly a $10 or $15 value. Not sure though, haven't ever purchased points. I've gotten a lot of free points. I recently got back into it and had several thousand of these Lord of the Rings Online points from the monthly allowance accumulating. I calculated it out and the points alone are worth several $100s. All of the free content I get as well is also arguably worth several $100 more. So not only did my lifetime subscription pay for itself in less than 2 years, I was playing every day at that point, but it's probably paid for itself a good 5 or 6 times over. Turbine has treated its players very well. I will pour more money into it once I'm able to spend all my Lord of the Rings Online points, since I feel a little bad for how much value I get from something I impulse bought over 9 years ago, and continue to get more value from it as time goes on.